Hey, this is Phil Lilley, Lilley's Landing Resort and Marina on Lake Tinicomo. Going to do one cast today. It is the 30th of August, Friday. And we just got back from our trip to Boston area last night. Let me turn the motor here real quick. It's not straight. Makes a difference how the boat operates. Had a really good trip to Boston, had a good trip to Alaska. I've been putting up some pictures on Facebook and on my Ozark Anglers forum, and putting some videos together right now. But they're running 2 units up today. I boated up here to the dam. Then I've got the trolling motor on auto lock anchor mode, and I'm going to fish this bank. I'm going to try to stay close to the bank in the shade because get out there and the sun's just real tough on the camera. I'm using a 32nd ounce black jig with a sculpin head 2-pound line. And there's a few people up there at the outlet fishing. One thing I did want to say before I got too far into this is I got an email from Shane Bush, the biologist for the Missouri Department of Conservation for this lake, and it was basically a forward of an email from the Corps. And evidently, I learned something a little bit. In the group of dams, hydro dams that they operate in this area, they have to have one that's running continuously, and it has to do with, as the way Shane put it, it has to do with the constant current of electricity. In other words, there has to be a source of electricity supply, so one dam has to be running all the time. So Bull Shoals has been that dam. They call it regulating. They've been regulating Bull Shoals. It's been running 24 hours a day. But something happened at Bull Shoals today, or actually yesterday or last night, and now Table Rock has become that dam to where they're going to have to run water here, at least half unit, a unit, I'm not sure what, 24 hours a day until Bull Shoals is fixed. So that means if you're planning on coming up here to wade and fish with no generation, the way it's been for quite a while, it's not going to happen. They're going to run water. So what it means out in the boats is fishing is probably going to be a little bit better. We like it with the water running just a little bit. I think the fish like it better. They feed a little better. So anyhow, I'm gonna fish a little bit. Take this off constant. Turn it down a little bit. And I'm gonna run it constant at about 3 or so, just to kind of slow me down in the current just a little bit, and then I can, ooh, nice fish just rose down here. And I can work this bank in the shade and hopefully keep you guys out of the sun. I am out of practice. I'm out of practice on the trolling motor for sure. I don't deserve a fish on that first cast. There has been a little bit of wind blowing up lake here when I pulled up. It's not blowing right now, which is nice. They might run that half unit like they have in the past. They might run a full unit, but it's going to be, like I said, 24 hours. They're going to run it all night and all day. And like today, they bumped it up to 2 units in the afternoon when it gets hot. There's that wind. Ah. I'm in real shallow water now, so I can kind of jerk that jig around, see if I can get a bite. We had a really good time in Alaska. We floated a river for about 5.5, 6 days. We did meet some headwind the last couple of days and had to be picked up early. The first day we toughed it out of the wind, headwind, we were in rafts and rowing. We toughed it out. We covered 17 miles that day, but we got about 12 miles into the day number 5, and we called them and said we gave up. We just we weren't making a whole lot of headway at that time, and we were hitting a stretch in the river where it was pretty straight and it was north, and that's the direction of the wind. So we just gave up. I'm really fishing. I haven't even seen any fish in this shallow side. I think they're running a little less than 2. I should have looked. Sorry. But I did really good using my jigs up there. We caught a lot of grayling, up to about 22, 23 inches, which is a real nice grayling. They weren't hitting dries. That's usually the fun part about going to Alaska and catching grayling, is they eat a lot of dry flies. And but there were so many chum salmon in the water spawning. Oh, that was a fish. That the eggs were just, you know, plentiful, and those fish were just gorging themselves on eggs. But the river also had sculpin, and my sculpin and ginger jig that I was throwing up there worked really, really well. It was a lot of fun. We were catching Dolly Varden up to about 22, 23, 24 inches long. They were real pretty, spawning colors. We hooked a few chum, but if you know anything about salmon fishing, before they die, they get really, really ugly, and their flesh starts to rot, and they stink. So you really kind of want to avoid hooking a chum salmon, but they get pretty aggressive, especially the males when they're spawning. So they will take your fly and your jig. And then silver salmon, cohos were spawning, or not spawning, but they were making their run up river. They were probably 2 or 3 weeks away from spawning. And we caught a few of those. I caught a couple of whitefish on jigs, which is pretty cool. And then we caught a few she-fish, S-H-E-E fish. They call it a freshwater tarpon. They kind of look like tarpon. And there's not many rivers in Alaska that have them. This one did. And our she-fish were not real big, probably 26, 27 inches was the biggest. And they get up into the 40s, and they get up in 60 pounds in some places. I'm not doing any good at all. I'm going to change. I'm going to throw a sculpin ginger. It's a 16th ounce sculpin ginger. I've got a 4-pound line on this one. The wind really isn't bothering me that much. I don't think I've got a bite. Maybe they just don't like black up here. Oh, that was a fish. I was really proud of Blake in his one cast yesterday. I told him when he went out, you know, he's already done a couple one cast, and he was kind of following our format, what to say and what to do. And I said, you know, you just need to go out and tell everybody about yourself and explain what you're doing and why you're doing it. And you know, people like to hear all that stuff, and he did a really good job, and he caught fish. Got Labor Day this weekend. It's not busy yet. That was kind of odd. My GoPro's trying to tell me something. It just shut off. I'll keep going unless it beeps at me again. Of course, now I got the sun. Okay, a few more casts. I don't know what's going on with the GoPro. I don't know what's going on with the fishing either. I was saying I passed one other boat in the trophy area and a couple of boats, 3 boats down below the trophy area. So there's not many people out fishing today. Pretty amazing. But I imagine it'll get busy tomorrow. There's one pontoon above me and another pontoon's pulling up below me. I really appreciate everybody picking up the slack and doing one cast while I was gone. Well, there was a fish and I just missed him. I am so far out of practice. It's crazy. I have noticed a lot of people catching browns up here on the Fly Fishing Lake Tinicomo page on Facebook. So the browns are kind of starting to show up a little bit. Not any big ones, but some nice ones, and they're all colored up. I should have caught that fish a minute ago. I did get out and fish a little bit in Boston My son has a friend that has a member of a boat club, and we went out one morning early, and there was some question whether we should go out because it was windy. We left the harbor and went out. We didn't even go out past, you know, out in the ocean, quote unquote. But we were still in 8 to 10 foot rollers. And I did really good. I didn't get sick. We caught some mackerel out there for bait. I think that was a fish. And then we went in and fished around some bridges, and we caught several stripers. They weren't real big. A couple feet long. For a striper, that's not very big. But it was fun. It's fun getting out. Really, I feel a little bit lost out here today. Can't get used to the trolling motor. I'm missing bites. Oh, I got a fish, I got a fish. When I post the videos, I'll put a link on our Facebook page. Whew, that's a little bigger than I thought. I call the fish, some of the fish that I caught, char, but they weren't really char. If you know anything about dollies and char, it's very, very confusing. But we actually caught dollies and not char. Gosh. He's all wrapped up. I'll probably lose my jig. Nope. I am so stinking out of practice. Sorry guys. And my trolling motor is going in circles. I better just quit. You can even see. Thanks for watching. We will see you tomorrow.